Cleveland, Ohio, while gerrymandering disputes from other states have landed in the U.S. Supreme Court, Ohio voters apparently took the historic step Tuesday of passing a bipartisan proposal aimed at creating fairer and more logical congressional districts. See updates at this link. Results reported by 11 p.m. showed issue 1 leading 75% to 25%. And both the Associated Press and the Ohio Democratic Party early in the evening declared victory for issue 1. 92% of the precincts were counted. Issue 1 would amend the Ohio Constitution by putting rules in place, where none exist now, aimed at creating districts that make geographic sense, rather than districts designed solely with political gain in mind. How often, and to what extent, counties can be split will be severely limited. And a new 10-year map cannot be enacted without significant buy-in from both major political parties. The first map drawn under the new rules would be created after the 2020 census. This would mark the first time that the party in power will not have almost total control over the process. It should be a ray of hope for people in Ohio concerned with both political parties working together to get something done, said Rep. Kirk Schering, a Canton Republican who worked on the proposal as part of a special bipartisan committee in the Ohio legislature. I think we will have fairer districts. I think we will have more competitive districts. If they are more competitive, people in Washington will have to be more conciliatory, not so partisan. Under Ohio's current map, drawn under Republican control in 2011, there are almost no competitive races. Counties such as Cuyahoga and Summit are split 4 ways each, and some districts meander for more than 100 miles across the state. Results have turned out as planned, with 12 solid Republican districts and 4 solid Democratic districts, none changing party hands during any election. The closest race in 2016 was decided by more than 18 percentage points, leaving voters little opportunity to hold their elected representatives accountable. There were failed attempts at reform before, including, in 1981, Ohioans voted 58% to 42% against a proposal placed on the ballot by a petition drive that would have allowed anyone to submit a redistricting plan and require a special commission to adopt the most compact version, unless the commission voted unanimously to reject it. However, the 2015 issue did not address congressional redistricting. The legislature promised to revisit the issue, but didn't do so until pressure mounted last year from a petition drive and increased media scrutiny. Redistricting reform was the focus of a months-long Cleveland.com series, Out of Line, Impact 2017 and Beyond. In the meantime, multiple cases from elsewhere landed in the Supreme Court. Among those, complaints from Wisconsin Democrats and Maryland Republicans upset with maps in those states are awaiting decisions. But in Ohio 3 months ago, a compromise was reached among Democrats and Republicans, plus the groups responsible for the petition drive. Then the proposal was placed on the ballot after bipartisan votes, 31-0 in the Ohio Senate and 83-10 in the Ohio House. As Election Day approached, backers of the separate petition drive, including Common Cause Ohio and the Ohio League of Women Voters, kept their petitions active, holding the threat to take their own proposal to the ballot in November if issue 1 failed. Rep. Jack Serra, a Democrat from Bel Air who was part of the working group with Schering, said both the petition drive and the public's education on the ills of the current map led to reform apparently really happening this time. The majority party down here realized they were going to have to deal with the petitions, at the ballot box, Serra said. They didn't want that. The other thing is that this map was so blatantly gerrymandered. The terribly gerrymandered map was driving people to finally understand it and how that connected to the inability of Congress to do anything. Republicans in the General Assembly had the votes to put their own proposal on the ballot, but Sen. Matt Huffman, a Republican from Lima, insisted on bipartisan support before going to the ballot. Otherwise, he said, it wouldn't win. How would it work under Issue 1? The legislature would still hold control over approval of the next map in following the 2020 census. But the new rules for congressional maps require 50% support from members of each of the two major political parties. If that fails, the work would be turned over to a separate, 7-member commission of statewide elected officials and representatives from the legislature. But the commission could not approve a new map without at least 2 votes from each party. If that fails, the legislature eventually could approve a new map without any minority support, but that new map would be good for only 4 years, instead of 10, and added requirements would be imposed in an attempt to protect local communities and the party in the minority. Other provisions are aimed at ending the practice of designing districts without regard to local communities. Issue 1 also requires compact districts and limits county splits. No more than 5 counties could be split 3 ways. No more than 18 counties could be split 2 ways. At least 65 counties would be kept whole.